Managing marketing informations to gain customer insight. This is what we will be talking about in today's presentation. It is all about marketing information and customers requirement. How can we marry and match them? So yes, consumer buying behaviors refers to the pattern that a final consumer, be it an individual, be it a household, be it a unit who buys the goods and services for their consumption only. So we need to study this consumer behaviors to provide with an answer, to come up with an answer. How do consumer respond to the marketing effort the company might use of late altogether? So we will be talking about the models of consumer behaviors: product, price, place, and promotion. Now, if we can have the right product at the right price and probably at the place where it is available, where the consumers are looking for it, and if better, if it can be bundled up with certain kind of promotion, discount, and things like that. What are we trying to do? We are trying to build up a stimuli, the consumers to go for the product, to make a purchase. Now, this is the buyer's decision making boxes comes around it. Now, we are talking about economic, technological, political, and culture. The external environment will let me know about what the product is all about it, what the price points would all will be looking into it. This is my stimuli that comes around it. So, based upon it, we are talking about consumer behaviors affecting the characteristics and so on and so forth. So, yes, the buyers will have a response in terms of product choices, brand choices, and dealer choices, and there would be a perfect timing to go around it. If we can map it, if we can match it, if we can marry it, and we will make money out of it, the buyer response there. Right. So yes, the characteristics affecting consumer behaviors are everything. The buyer is having its his or her own style of thinking, processing information, data thereby. The buyers is person specific. There are changes, there are differences. The buyers would be having a group of friends or opinion leaders or thought leaders with whom they might get swayed away upon it. So the society that he or she is uh, existing is plays a major role, and overall the culture that he or she has been brought over it. So these are the characteristics that a consumer actually exhibits over a period of time. So factors affecting the behaviors in terms of culture, let us accept one at a time, right? Let us talk about culture. So this is the basic, most basic of a person wants and behavior in terms of values and perception, if I may say so. Now, every person has their own values, the values of their been upbringing, the values they have been taught or been seen has been displayed in the community, the perception that comes around it. The subcultures is group of people with shared value system based on common life expectations and experiences. Then we have something we can segregate the consumer based on their upbringing or background. Like, let's say Hispanic consumers, African American consumers, Asian American consumer, mature consumer, a consumer who actually thinks from the head rather than having a backpack or baggage of the past experiences or whatever has been taught. So then we have a social class. People within a particular social class tends to exhibit similar behaviors, similar buying behaviors, similar consumer behavior in term. Now, what are those similarities? People from similar occupation, similar income bracket, similar education background, and probably similar kind of wealth if we are talking about here. So let us understand the social factors of consumer behaviors. Now, yes, we all have our own group of friends, we all have our own group of acquaintances, we all have our own circle. This membership, this is our reference groups, easy reference groups, and we actually like to shine in our reference group altogether. So, yes, that's one of the groups that becomes around it. Definitely, all of us have a family, perhaps a spouse, perhaps a kid, and there might be one dominant partner or dominant person in the family whose opinion matters the most, or probably who has the last say. We are talking about influencer, we are talking about roles and status, and this is what to be considered as a social factor. Let us understand the personal aspect. The personal influences are all about ages, family life cycle, stage. Now, here, everywhere, a young child would be behaving separately and differently. A preteen child would be behaving differently. A teenager would be behaving differently. A young adult would be behaving differently. Why? Because they have different acumen. They have their different experiences. They are in an exploratory mood. Or perhaps an adult, a mature adult, a parent, an old fellow, quite an aged gentleman or a lady. They have their expectation either pruned, or they understand their limitation, or probably they are wise enough to change their taste. So we are looking at economic situation, we are looking at occupation, personality, and self-concept. Now, these are my personal influences, if I may say so. Then comes the lifestyle identification. Yes, there are people who at an age of 50 or 60 or 70 would behave or exhibit characteristics of a 30 or 40-year-old gentleman or a lady. So that is the activities, the opinions, and the interest thereof that across it. We have those values in terms of actualizers. Let's say actualizers are people with abundant resources, ample amount of money, ample amount of comfort. So what are looking at? We are looking at principle orientation as actualizers, status oriented and action oriented, which principle oriented would be fulfilling their principles, beliefs. Now that is what we are looking around. Status oriented would be of achievers and strivers. Similarly, for action oriented would be experiencer or makers, as the case might be. You see, here he is the actualizer who has abundant resources, and these are the orientations as far as the values are concerned. Similarly, there would be people who have absolutely zero and minimal resources. They are supposedly strugglers, so they would love to go for believers to fulfill, or probably strivers to achievers, or makers to experiencer, as in the values that continues as a continuum of effect. Factors affecting consumer behaviors in terms of psychology. Let us understand what are we looking at into it. We are looking at an individual motivation, perception, learning, beliefs, and attitude. Now, all of us have our own intrinsic and extrinsic motivational drive. All of us understand a thing from a different perspective. Different prism is what we actually view a thing, incident, or event per se. We have different learnings. We have different takeaways from same and similar incidents. And this is depending upon our thought process as the psychology is concerned. Yes, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Yes, this is one of the basic requirement of motivation that comes around it. We are talking here about self-actualization. Essentially, everything goes from the bottoms up, as in the physiological needs of hunger and thirst should be met first. Once these have been met, we need to look for safety needs, as in security and protection. And what kind of security are we looking about it? We are secure that we will not go hungry at the night, hungry to the bed. We need a protection about from all kind of physical pains and things, all negative energies, the thirst, the hunger. There should not be anything around it. So once we are fulfilling our physiological needs and safety needs, we move to the higher order needs of social needs. Sense of love, sense of belonging is something that we would love to experience it immediately. If these things have been also already been met for the family that we are born with, the people we are staying with, if these have been met, then probably we'll look to the higher order needs of esteem needs. And this is wherein we would love to be respected too. In fact, now instead of somebody falling in uh, me falling in love with somebody, or some belonging to a sense of belonging to somebody else, a clan, a family, or we identifying ourselves with one of those groups, probably can I be the pillar of wherein everybody is going to fall in love with me? Can everybody be dependent on me? As in self-esteem need, the status comes around it. And if this is also met, probably then come the last higher order needs of self-actualization, wherein we would love to multiply the success that we have tasted. We would love to percolate the knowledge that we have gained, the wisdom that we have grown upon into, and disseminate it into the general population thereby. So this is the types of behavior that comes around it. We are talking about high involvement and low involvement on x-axis, and significant differences between brand, and probably no differences at all. So if you look into a low involvement and low differences, it is habitual buying. Whether you are purchasing in brand A, brand B, hardly make a sense. But when the involvement is low, but the difference of between brand is very big enough, now, this is where you are talking about Android devices, or probably an iPhone per se. Now, this is where you will be talking about varieties of businesses thereby. variety seeking behaviors. Now, this is, we need to understand, we need to experiment, we need to taste. Similarly, when there's a high involvement but low differences altogether, it is all about dissonances. You are not very interested, but probably the ticket price, when I say ticket price, the item price is on a higher end, right? So you are making a bulkier purchase. Let's say you are purchasing a four-wheeler, or probably purchasing a property for yourself. So how do you go around it? So that's high involvement, despite there will be few differences altogether. But what happens when everything is different in terms of significance, in terms of involvement? It's a complex buy procedure where you would like to try, test it before actually putting in your money. So these are the type of decisions. So if you see less amount of money and less amount of money, but lot of choices, probably you experiment. But when there is a high amount of money but less amount of differences. Let's say you're purchasing a car, you are looking at different colors, different size, ensuring that everything is working fine. And then there is something called significant differences. You are trying to try it, and it is hugely involved. Huge involvement is required to make a purchase decision around there. The buyer decision process, it's all about need recognition. It is all about information orientation or search, evaluation of alternative, purchase decision, post purchase behavior, as the case might be. This is what we are looking for as a buyer decision, that needs to be understood time and again. Yes, the buyer decision process, we will talk about the every step in this particular presentation. We talk about the need recognition. Now we need to understand what is an actual need and what is a desired need. So the actual need might be your thirst, which can be quenched with water, but probably you're looking at a Coca-Cola for per se. So the internal stimuli is hunger, thirst, or personal normal needs. When the external stimuli might be TV advertisements, magazine, radio slogans, and the stimuli in the environment in terms of promotion, where you can buy one, get one, you can offer in a discount or something like that. So buyer decision making is the information search. Of the six step, the second step is information search. So you will be doing it from your personal searches, right? It can be you're referring to your friends, families, neighbors, a person whom you look up to, probably most influential source of information, or commercial sources. That is exactly by advertising, salesperson receive most information from these sources. Public sources are mass media, consumer rating groups, and so on and so forth. Absolutely, in a public domain, the information is already available. Then comes the experiential sources, handling the product, examining the product, and using the product thereby. This is what we are looking as far as the information search is concerned. Let us come to the third step. The third step is all about evaluation alternatives, all about options, and there are in the market it has been flooded with options. You want to purchase one item, they will give you 10 different brands and 10 different varieties with 10 different positives and attributes altogether. So we have positive product attributes, evaluation of quality, evaluation of price, and the features thereby. The degree of importance plays a major role. What attributes matters most to me? Brand beliefs. What do I believe about each brand? Total product satisfaction, based on what am I looking? How satisfied would I be of each product? Evaluation procedures. Choosing a product or brand based on one or more attributes, as the case might be. This is what we are looking for it. So we have product attributes, we have degree of importance, the brand beliefs, what do I believe about each available brand, and so on and so forth. Let us understand the purchase decision. The purchase intent is desire to buy the most preferred brand, attitudes of the others, and unexpected situational factors. Now, what are we looking into the purchase intention? Desire to purchase the most preferred brand in terms of uh, any attitude that comes around it, unexpected situational factors, and purchase decision thereabout. So, yes, we are going to make a purchase. It might be a big ticket purchase. As a big ticket, we need to understand what others will be perceiving about our purchases. What are the other unexpected situational factors? Let's say there might be a promotion, there might be prices. You are purchasing an automobile and the prices of the gases escalates. So how do you go around it? Let us come to the post-purchase behaviors of the decision-making process. Now, here comes the performance, product performance. What you were actually expecting and what it has been performing. If it is exceeding your expectation, you are a satisfied customer. But in case there's a gap between actual performance and expected performance, there is something called dissatisfied customers, as the case might be. Yes, the stages of adoption process is all about the purchase, all about the awareness, all about the interest, evaluation, trial, and adoption. These are the stages. These five are the stages of product adoption process. First, you should be aware of it. Probably then, if once you are aware of the product, if it interests you, probably you will try to explore it. During exploration, it will be evaluating with all available products, all available brands that is being there in the market. You might also go for a trial. You might also try to experience the product before you actually make that purchase thereby. So yes, adoption of innovation comes out here, wherein at on a look out here on the x-axis is the time period that has been slotted, on the y-axis in innovation or the performance of innovation. So early innovators is in this stage, whereas the early adopters will come rise around 13.5%. So early 2.5% would be innovators who would like to experiment, they would like to challenge the norm of the society. Then there is an early adopters, probably then become the early majority per se, late majority 34% laggers, as eventually who will be forced to adapt because things have changed in the society. So yes, this is what comes around it. We have early adopters, early majority, and then late majority, and by this time almost 84% have already been participated in the products innovation. Let us come to the last slide as an influence of the rate of adoption. Now, what comes around it? The product characteristics definitely plays the major role. Please understand the complexity is the innovation is difficult to understand. Product characteristic, probably people will desist from doing it. Relative advantages innovation superior to existing performances. If it is superior way by leaps and bounds, by a great volume, people would get tempted and people would adopt it much more faster. Compatibility, does the innovation fills the values and experience of the target market? Now, what is compatibility? If you expect that the end consumer is going to pick up a trick, learn the things of operating that equipment, operating the product, and it is going against their learning, relearning, unfreezing, and freezing concepts, probably they might desist before actually adopting. If things are pursued, things are as effective as has been promised, they will actually go about it. But it is all about compatibility. Then comes divisibility. Can the innovation be used on a trial basis? Now, this is very important. If we can try it out, if we can experience it out, we would be automatically sold to the product if the product is sure shot winner. Communicability, can the result be easily observed? Can it be easily described to others? The experience, can it be thrilled? Can the customer be thrilled altogether? Now, these are the questions that comes around it. Communicability, relative advantage, compatibility, complexity, and divisibility. These will play a major role in the rate of adoption of the new product. With these words, I would love to wind up this presentation. Thank you for watching this video. I'm sure you have understood uh, marketing in totality and how it takes shapes. Thank you once again.